Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our deep dives into the Bible, theology, and faith. And if you enjoy this content, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow and reach more people. Today, we have an intriguing topic. Who is the most unfaithful woman in the Bible? You may have some names in mind, but the answer might surprise you. As we go through this study, I encourage you to leave a comment sharing your thoughts. Do you already have a guess? Who do you think holds this infamous title? Also, don't forget to share this video with your friends and family so we can explore this fascinating biblical story together. Now let's dive in. Who is the most unfaithful woman in the Bible? When discussing infidelity in the Bible, several names come to mind. Some women in biblical history have been associated with betrayal, deceit, and immorality. Among the top contenders, we have Potiphar's wife, attempted to seduce Joseph and falsely accused him when he rejected her advances. Herodias, engaged in an adulterous relationship, leaving her husband to be with her brother-in-law, Herod Antipas. Jezebel, perhaps one of the most infamous women in the Bible, known for her idolatry, wickedness, and influence over King Ahab. However, if we focus specifically on adultery and marital unfaithfulness, one woman stands out above the rest: Gomer, the wife of the prophet Hosea. Her story is unique because it is not just about personal betrayal, but also a powerful prophetic message. Gomer's infidelity represents Israel's unfaithfulness to God, making her story much more than just an account of a wayward wife. It is a divine illustration of God's enduring love and mercy despite betrayal. But who was Gomer? And why did God command a prophet to marry such a woman? Let's explore her story in depth. Historical context of Hosea's time. To fully understand Gomer's story, we must first look at the historical background of the time in which the prophet Hosea lived. His era was marked by political instability, moral corruption, and spiritual decline in Israel. The division of the kingdom. After King Solomon's reign, Israel was split into two kingdoms. The northern kingdom, Israel, capital, Samaria. The southern kingdom, Judah, capital, Jerusalem. This division led to constant conflict between the two regions. The northern kingdom, ruled by King Pekah, was particularly troubled, filled with idolatry, injustice, and violence. The people worshipped pagan gods like Baal, engaged in corrupt trade practices, and mistreated the poor. The role of Assyria. During this period, Israel was threatened by the powerful Assyrian Empire. King Pekah sought an alliance with Syria, Aram, to attack Judah, but Judah's king, Ahaz, turned to Assyria for help. This led to a devastating outcome. Assyria invaded the northern kingdom in 722 BC, destroying its cities. The Israelites were scattered, leading to the disappearance of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. This chaotic period set the stage for Hosea's prophetic mission. Israel had abandoned God, replacing him with false gods and corrupt leadership. It was in this context that God commanded Hosea to take a drastic and symbolic action, marrying Gomer. This was not just a personal act, but a divine illustration of God's painful love for a faithless nation. Let's now dive into this controversial marriage and its meaning. The story of prophet Hosea and Gomer. In the midst of Israel's spiritual and moral decline, God gave a shocking command to the prophet Hosea. Go, marry a prostitute and have children with her, for the land is guilty of unfaithfulness to the Lord. Hosea 1 verse 2. This command was not just about Hosea's personal life. It was meant to be a living symbol of God's relationship with Israel. Just as Israel had been unfaithful to God, Hosea's wife would be unfaithful to him. Who was Gomer? There are two main interpretations of Gomer's status when she married Hosea. She was already a prostitute, possibly involved in Baal worship, where temple prostitution was common. She became unfaithful after marriage, symbolizing how Israel turned away from God after being chosen as his people. Some scholars suggest that Gomer may have been a cult prostitute, dedicated to the pagan fertility rites of Baal. In these rituals, women engaged in sacred prostitution, believing it would ensure agricultural prosperity. The children of Hosea and Gomer. Their marriage produced 3 children, each carrying a prophetic name representing God's judgment on Israel. Jezreel, God's sows, a warning of the coming destruction. Lo-Ruhamah, no mercy, a sign that God would no longer spare Israel. Lo-Ami, not my people, symbolizing the broken covenant between God and Israel. Through this deeply personal and painful experience, Hosea's life became a reflection of God's love for a people who repeatedly betrayed him. But Gomer's story doesn't end here. Her downfall and redemption hold a powerful message. Let's continue. Symbolism of Hosea's relationship with Gomer. Hosea's marriage was not just a personal ordeal. It was a prophetic act designed to reflect God's love and faithfulness toward Israel, despite their betrayal. Gomer's continued infidelity. Even after marrying Hosea, Gomer continued to be unfaithful. She eventually fell into complete disgrace, likely becoming a slave or being sold due to her promiscuous lifestyle. Despite her betrayal, God commanded Hosea to do something extraordinary. Go, show your love to your wife again, though she is loved by another man and is an adulteress. Hosea 3 verse 1. This was a direct representation of how God continued to love Israel, even though they had abandoned him for other gods. Hosea buys Gomer back. Hosea found Gomer in a humiliating state, possibly being sold in a slave market. Instead of rejecting her, he paid a price to redeem her. 15 pieces of silver and a quantity of barley. Hosea 3 verse 2. This act was a powerful symbol of how God was willing to redeem his people, even though they had forsaken him. The message behind the marriage. Gomer equals Israel, unfaithful, sinful, and undeserving of love. Hosea equals God, faithful, compassionate, and willing to redeem. The redemption, a foreshadowing of God's ultimate act of love through Jesus Christ, who paid the price for humanity's sins. This was not just a personal love story, but a divine message of grace, mercy, and redemption. Now, let's explore how Israel's unfaithfulness mirrors Gomer's actions. Comparison between Gomer's infidelity and Israel's betrayal. Gomer's unfaithfulness was not just about personal immorality. It was a direct parallel to Israel's spiritual adultery against God. Just as Gomer betrayed Hosea, Israel had betrayed God by turning to idolatry, corruption, and injustice. Israel's spiritual adultery. During Hosea's time, the Israelites were deeply involved in pagan worship, particularly the worship of Baal. This included idolatry, replacing God with false deities. Temple prostitution. Many women, possibly including Gomer, were involved in cultic sexual rituals. Moral and social corruption, dishonest business practices, exploitation of the poor, and injustice in society. Israel had become obsessed with material wealth and power, ignoring their covenant with God. Instead of trusting in him, they sought political alliances with pagan nations, much like Gomer seeking lovers instead of her husband. Hosea's warning and Israel's judgment. Hosea repeatedly warned that if Israel did not repent, destruction would come. Just as Gomer faced shame and slavery, Israel would also experience military defeat at the hands of Assyria, the fall of Samaria, the capital of the northern kingdom, the exile and dispersion of the 10 tribes of Israel. This was not just punishment, but a consequence of their choices. Their unfaithfulness led to destruction, just as Gomer's lifestyle led to her downfall. God's ultimate mercy. Despite Israel's betrayal, God's love remained constant. Through Hosea, he offered a message of hope. I will heal their waywardness and love them freely, for my anger has turned away from them. Hosea 14 verse 4. This story teaches that no matter how far someone falls, redemption is always possible, but only if they choose to return to God. Next, let's explore the powerful lessons from Hosea's story and how they apply today. Lessons from Hosea's story. The story of Hosea and Gomer is much more than an account of personal betrayal. It is a powerful lesson about God's grace, redemption, and unwavering love. 1. Divine grace despite human failure. Gomer's unfaithfulness and Israel's spiritual adultery reflect human nature's tendency to turn away from God. Yet, God does not abandon his people, even when they reject him. I will heal their waywardness and love them freely. Hosea 14 verse 4. This teaches us that God's love is not based on our perfection, but on his mercy. 2. The importance of intimacy with God. Hosea 4 verse 6 states, My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. The word knowledge, yada, in Hebrew implies more than intellectual understanding. It means deep intimacy. Just as a marriage requires closeness and trust, our relationship with God should be based on genuine connection, not just religious rituals. 3. Jesus and the ultimate redemption. Hosea's act of buying Gomer back foreshadows Jesus Christ's sacrifice. Just as Hosea paid a price to redeem Gomer, Jesus paid the ultimate price to redeem humanity from sin. Hosea paid silver for Gomer's freedom. Jesus paid with his own life for ours. This shows that God's love is relentless. He pursues us even when we don't deserve it. 4. Self-reflection before criticism. The story reminds us to look at ourselves first before judging others. Often, we criticize society, the church, or others without realizing that we, too, are flawed. Before pointing fingers, ask, if everyone in my community were like me, would it be better or worse? Hosea's story challenges us to stop blaming others and take responsibility for our own spiritual growth. Application to modern times. The story of Hosea and Gomer is not just an ancient tale. It is a mirror of our own spiritual journey. Just as Israel and Gomer were unfaithful, we, too, often turn away from God in various ways. 1. We are the Gomer of the 21st century. Gomer represents humanity's tendency to be unfaithful to God. Today, unfaithfulness can take many forms. Idolatry, prioritizing money, power, or material success over God. Spiritual neglect, seeking personal pleasure instead of a relationship with Him. Moral corruption, justifying dishonesty, injustice, or self-indulgence. Instead of pointing fingers at others, we must ask ourselves, in what ways have I been unfaithful to God? 2. The danger of a distant relationship with God. Hosea 4 verse 1 warns, "There is no truth, no mercy, and no knowledge of God in the land." This is still true today. Many people know about God, but do not know Him personally. Without a deep relationship, faith becomes empty traditions rather than a transformative connection with the Creator. 3. The need for self-reflection before criticizing society. It's easy to blame others for the world's problems. The government is corrupt. People don't know how to vote. The church has lost its values. But Hosea's message is clear. Self-examination comes first. If 90% of the world were like me, would it be better or worse? This question forces us to take responsibility instead of just criticizing from a distance. 4. God's love and redemption are still available. Despite Israel's unfaithfulness, God never gave up on them, and He doesn't give up on us. He still calls us back. He still offers grace and forgiveness. He still pursues us with love, just as Hosea pursued Gomer. No matter how far we stray, we can always return to God. This story is not just about ancient Israel, it is about us. But what can we do to strengthen our faith and relationship with God? Let's conclude with a final reflection. Conclusion. As we've seen, the story of Hosea and Gomer is not just an ancient tale. It's a reflection of our own lives, our struggles, and God's relentless love for us. No matter how far we stray, redemption is always possible. But this is just one of many powerful lessons found in the Bible. There is still so much more to explore about faith, history, and God's message for us today. If you want to go even deeper into these incredible biblical stories, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Also, if you found this message valuable, hit the like button. It's a simple way to show your support and help this content reach more people. And don't forget to share this video with your friends and family so they, too, can reflect on these powerful truths. Your engagement helps keep this channel going and allows me to bring more biblical insights to you. So, let me know in the comments, what stood out the most to you in this story? Do you see any parallels between Gomer's journey and our world today? Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. God bless, and see you soon.